Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Sunday, October 2nd, around 1 p.m. Mountain Time 2022. We have multiple M flares and CMEs headed our way that will cannibalize each other and reach planet Earth on the 4th. We also have snow in the forecast, and we'll talk about it, but the big story is Ian. Death toll rises to 67 in Florida, as some communities say that it's unrecognizable. Keep calm. It's boom time. We don't like to talk about death tolls, but we predicted that this would be the most deadly hurricane in Florida history, and it's appearing that it's going that way. Just another dozen people puts it above the deadliest event as far as hurricanes are concerned, and it's looking like that's going to happen probably later today. As communities deal with power outages, most of the Atlantic coast from the secondary landfall has recovered. Virginia had some people out, but they all got put on today, and we've only got 20,000 power outages in the Carolinas. But Florida is a little different. We're going to have some long-term effects from that down here in the southwestern coast, especially Lee County, Charlotte County, and Hardee County. May be a while before we get things back up there. And the flooding, yeah, that's going to be a big problem on the Peace River. We have some video of that, so stay tuned. Also have a significant amount of people up here on the eastern coast, northeastern coast, without power. 810,000 as of now in Florida without power. But the big story is the central Florida floods. It is flooding everywhere, and we have some record flood peaks. Specifically, the Peace River, we pointed that out yesterday. A record peak here at just 23.7 feet, which is 3 feet higher, I believe, than the record that it broke. And Reed Timmer was there, and we have some of the footage. So this footage is from yesterday on the Peace River.
Oh my God, this is insane, dude. Something couldn't be that good. They spent 3 days, 4 days just moving stuff. They couldn't get evacuated. Yeah, there was no time. Wow. We thought it was going to get us pretty heavy. I got most of my stuff. I didn't get my personal stuff, like my work stuff. We got 99% of it done. Damn. Those are your permanent residents? A lot of those. Yeah. They're permanent residents.
Absolutely devastating. And this has got to be 100 miles. It's far inland from the coast, but it is all of the water from the entire storm coming into that Peace River and trying to flow out near Cape Coral. That's where the river comes out there. So big up to Reed Timmer for getting the footage and sticking with it. He keeps working and working, just like we do at the channel. Now, the Peace River, luckily, is going to come down pretty rapidly by tomorrow. A lot of those people will be able to get back in there and assess the damage, which is going to be catastrophic because of the mold. We do have links, though, to apply for assistance. If you're someone that's hard hit in the area and is listening to this show and doesn't know where to get help, the first thing you need to do is, if you have insurance, you need to file a claim with your insurance company immediately, because any of the FEMA assistance cannot aid with losses covered by insurance. So you have to know what they're going to cover before you get any other assistance. But this is the site for applying for assistance, FEMA.gov/disaster 46/4673. We will have the link below. It will say Florida Hurricane Ian Assistance, and just click on the link and fill out the form. Now let's take a look at the snowfall totals and when it is forecast to be falling. Well, I could tell you it's falling right now. This morning, Wolf Creek was covered, our first significant snow of the year, and you can see that filling in right here on the GFS model. There's also going to be a pretty significant event to hit Canada in just a few days, and that will start on Thursday, October 6th, last through the 7th and the 8th. The heaviest snow on the 8th will be on the far eastern shore. Look at that. Maine could be picking up some snow here. Vermont, northern New York, New Hampshire, hello. And then the big event in the Rockies, the first big snow event looks like it's going to start happening Tuesday, October 11th as it pushes south down into the Rockies, all the way down into the deserts. Heaviest snow totals are going to be right here in the southern mountains of the Rockies, the South San Juans, where they are saying maybe 3 to 4 feet of snow through the middle of October. So winter is here. Lingering rainfall from Ian remnants in the mid-Atlantic. Major to record river flooding will continue in central Florida. We showed you some of that tragic footage. Remnant heavy rainfall from Ian may bring limited flash, urban, and small stream flooding today across portions of the mid-Atlantic. Ongoing major to record river flooding following Ian will continue this week across portions of central Florida, with locally heavy rainfall and flash flooding possible in southern Utah through Monday. There's one winter storm warning right up here in southeastern Montana, and we've got, what's the blue? Frost advisories for the Northeast. So take a look. Bring in your sensitive plants before they get damaged. Seismic update. No quakes of note, which is good news on the seismic front. We do have the continuing ongoing event on the Reykjanes Ridge in the mid-Atlantic. And there were 2 more quakes today, so this event is not over. Worldwide volcano news. Nothing really spectacular to report. Piton de la Fournaise in La Réunion. Spectacular fountaining caught on camera. This is a very tiny event. It's more of a tourist attraction than anything we need to be worried about. All other volcanoes are behaving. Now, space weather. The sun has been getting a little jiggy. Now, thankfully, none of the major flaring happening on the sun is directly headed towards Earth. But we currently have a global D-layer absorption. This is a radio blackout going on. That means we've had some flaring events or we're in a flare, and that's what's happening. We've had these 2 stronger M flares in the last 24 hours, and we could just break it down. There was an M8.7 event that flung a tower of plasma into space. You can see it here. Much of this will likely be reabsorbed by the sun. However, any plasma that does escape in the form of a CME will be minor unless it cannibalizes, and it is going to cannibalize on the former M5.8. Same spot, getting active. And first there was a 5.8. Then the second event was an M8.7. And this is all going to coincide with the coronal hole event, which should be happening now. Now, let's real quick take a look at some of these flares, and you can see that they're not quite significant. They're blasting off of the right side here. Boom, boom. And we're looking here at Lascaux C2. We'll come over to the Lascaux C3 angle, and that shows those same flares from a little further away. As I believe this is Venus making its trip behind the sun for the month of October. Now, here we are over at the WSA Enlil solar wind prediction, and you can see they're predicting some geomagnetic activity with these flares. You can see the first one, second one cannibalizing it, and a third one, and that is actually going to sideswipe Earth according to this model sometime on the 4th. So we could have a significant, moderate geomagnetic storm October 4th based on the models, because we're already going to have elevated telemetry from the coronal hole stream, which really isn't affecting us now. We do have some phi angle getting a little jiggy here. So we could be seeing, there it is, increase in the speed. Plasma speed now up to around 550 peaking. Won't see any geomagnetic activity unless we see some major telemetry shifts. We're seeing some minor ones right now, but speed is going up. So expect KP 5 or 6 for the next several days at any moment. Unless, of course, you keep your eyes to the telemetry and you'll know exactly when it happens. Now, some interesting science news. Earth has a 6th ocean. This has been talked about for several years. But a new paper coming out on a very special diamond that was discovered is gleaning a little bit more insight into the idea. Now, the 6th ocean isn't one that has waves and tides and sloshes around. It's very deep in the earth, and it contains more water than all of the oceans on the surface. So that's something we need to consider. If sea level rise and fall, the catastrophic sea level rise and fall that we see in the proxy data, that happens regularly every 26,000 years with a 12,000 500-year middle flexure point. It could be driven by this vast reservoir of water that gets pushed out of the earth through some force, maybe the magnetic field. But let's get back to this paper. Earth has a sixth ocean, a new study suggests, but not one we can see. The international study published in Nature Geoscience says that vast reservoirs of water are located in the transition zone. This is between the upper and the lower mantle and at a depth of 410 to 660 kilometers. So this is really deep. We've never ever been able to drill anywhere near this. But what it does is it creates some pretty awesome diamonds. Now, researchers came to that conclusion by studying the rare Botswana diamond, which, according to what its chemical composition suggested, was formed at a depth of 660 kilometers in very watery conditions. So if that's something that interests you, we might do a follow-up video tonight on Magnetic Reversal News on the diamond from 660 kilometers below. And here's the paper if you want to bone up before the podcast. Hydrous peridotite fragments. That's well, we'll get to that in the full expose. Hydrous peridotite fragments of Earth's mantle, 660-kilometer discontinuity, sampled by a diamond. Not me. It was an actual diamond. Now, some interesting archaeology coming out. A million-year-old skull found in China is revealing some evolutionary secrets. The most interesting thing about this skull is that it is the most complete Homo erectus skull that we know of on Earth. Now, two other Homo erectus skulls were pulled from the same area, but they were deformed due to the fossilization process. They were a little smashed and skewed, like smushed to one direction. This one, however, looks completely intact, and it would in fact be the oldest Homo erectus and the most complete Homo erectus skull ever found. So it's going to take them several months to successfully get this out of there, and we will be waiting for updates. All links below to everything we talk about. As we move on to earthquakes and tsunamis in the Cascadia subduction zone. There have been plenty of earthquakes and tsunamis in the Cascadia subduction zone, but very little people are worried about it. Now, what we want to do is provide you with some historical context on what will occur and what is long overdue for happening up there. And this is the Tsunami Historical Series Cascadia 1700. And the full PDF, The Orphan Tsunami of 1700. This is a 146-page scientific document of the highest level that documents all of the possibilities, past, present, and future, of tsunamis on the Pacific Rim, specifically coming from Cascadia. So when Cascadia ruptures, people thousands of miles away can suffer in the form of tsunami. Now, some bigger geopolitical problems we need to worry about are the fact that hundreds of pounds of TNT were used to damage the Nord Stream pipelines. Definitely sabotage, definitely a precursor to war. Let's cross our fingers. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Hope you got something out of the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit that thumbs up. Share this video and be a hero. Or support our work on Patreon. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching. Be safe.